Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shonen Dump Podcast. My name is Nick and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host Bobby.
What's up?
So, I'm going to be doing the usual stuff. Bobby is finally caught up to Black Clover days before it comes back, and we are going to be covering that, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But this week we're going to be starting with Super Smartphone. Just kind of a continuation. We learned a little bit about Mora. Q and Mora kind of get to know each other. You know, we learned more about how Mora got manipulated into, like, going under the big rich tycoon guy.
Yeah, it's just kind of more characterization for him to be like, oh, this is just like a genuinely like nice and sweet guy who's kind of like in this kind of shitty situation, and it's just like, oh no. Well, it is nice though that we get to see that he does have a friend who kind of believed in him as like a good person, which is nice to see. He definitely needed something like that in his life because he's kind of only been burnt by the people close to him for so long.
Yeah. But the chapter ends with Q getting spotted by the other goon, and getting a picture snapped of him. And now it looks like Mora has zero value to the guy anymore, so he's going to be killed. I hope that doesn't actually happen because I like Mora a lot.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Mora might actually make it through and be more of a long-term character in the rest of the series, because I feel like, right, he's such a good foil to how the rest of the series is, where his simple-mindedness kind of grounds us in all of the insane mind games that all the other characters are playing. So I feel like he's actually a really valuable character to have, like, just reading the series, and it would be a shame if, he actually were to disappear.
True. But you can't, can't say it's not going to happen because, I mean, this series is pretty good, but we don't really know how long the author plans to make this go for. You know what I mean? Like, he might have a short story in mind. So, we don't know. Some of the recent stuff on here has been ending around like 50 something chapters, and I've heard that it isn't because of cancellation. It's just like that's how much they got. So, it might be a quick story.
Yeah,
But
I mean, we'll see, because I don't remember how many super smartphones that they were mentioning were kind of like in existence, if they even did mention that, but I feel like Zenichiro is just the beginning. So I don't think that this is anywhere close to like a finish at this point. But I do wonder, like, how far can this concept go?
all I know is Q is now this much closer to being found out, and he's got an ally in Mora, so it's only a matter of time before the guy finds him, and what happens with him at that point, like, unsure. Is he gonna just be captured or is he gonna be like targeted to be killed? I'm not sure, but
I mean, Zen wants Q on his side, right? That is his character motivation. And so I almost feel like, right, if he does something too extreme, it might kind of make Q be like, I would never join you. And, we don't even know if Q will necessarily join or not join Zen, but I don't know. The series has definitely been twisted and turning throughout so far, so.
Doron Dororon. Oh, they're all fighting.
Yeah, I think most people kind of have the feeling, right, that Doron Dororon is definitely kind of ending, right? It's
Yeah.
This is kind of like the end, and I think that it's a real shame because you can definitely see that the author had ideas and intentions for these fights that were just not being fleshed out that well. So the two girls who were fighting the one guy and they were like underwater and everything, there's that whole thing of Naotora like apparently made a hole from underground to the outside, and I'm like, okay, they did that in 2 panels or what should have been like a way cooler like big mind game type of thing. And similarly, right, the one guy with like the bowl cut, he does that like second slash on the funky one with the sundress on, the polka dot sundress, and you're just kind of like, it's like, okay, this is another big moment that could have been something else. And so I feel like the author has just kind of been squeezing like as much as he can into like these like individual chapters as much as he can, and it's just it's just so rushed, you know, and I feel that, and it's just hard to enjoy the chapter when I can tell that this person had ideas that are not going anywhere beyond this.
Yeah, there's not much more I have to say about this. It's really just obligation at this point that we're reading it. I think it's really kind of sad to see because the first few chapters were definitely like very promising, at least for me. I was like, you know what, this isn't. I thought this was gonna be fairly generic, but it wasn't too bad. I don't know. Now it's exactly what I was praising it for not being. Mashle.
So we're just kind of continuing the fight from before, right? We get the explanation that the frat boy guy kind of has a demon heart, and he has like some way to have infinite energy, and so it's like this. He basically is immortal because he has infinite healing potential, and he can like turn his energy into healing, and it's just kind of like, okay, so he's fighting Ryo's brother. I can't recall his name. Rain. His name is Rain. He basically just, you know, gets up and he's like, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, no, he's all messed up. Does the shonen thing of I'm not done yet. I don't know. It's whatever. Do more comedy, please. This isn't too great. This serious action stuff in Mashle.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. I guess this is probably gonna be some sort of Ryo moment because he still doesn't really have his brother's recognition. So he's gonna probably do something, and Rain is gonna be like, "I respect you now." Afterward, probably is what's gonna happen. So, I do want to say though, despite the fact that it's difficult to get into the story and the characters when everyone's being all serious in this series because of the way that it started and evolved in a way that was not to my preference, the action is definitely really cool. Like the art, I think in Mashle is always like really really solid in these like really grandiose types of things, and so you know the like pseudo unlimited blade works clash that they do is like pretty cool. I mean, yeah, Mashle's definitely like pretty to look at, which it also is getting the anime I think next year, right? So that should definitely be cooler to look at, I think.
Blue Box. He's doing his best hero cosplay from Smash Brothers.
Hero from Smash, not Hero from Dragon Quest. Yeah,
I don't know which one the hero I'm thinking of is from.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
mean,
number 3.
He's been finally coerced into wearing the Prince outfit, so now he's gonna be going up to the play. He's gonna be doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's freaking out, you know. But I get the impression that this whole kiss thing, he's gonna take seriously, and he wasn't supposed to. Like, I think there was probably an acted out fake kiss that was supposed to happen, and he's gonna make it a real one.
Oh, you think it's supposed to be like, oh, we just cover up from the audience and then
yeah, I think their angle that they're gonna, I think it's gonna be like, oh, the angle they were supposed to do is one person is facing the audience and the other person's facing away, so it's, you know, it's obscured by the back of the person in the front of the stage, and so like you can't see it, but you can guess that that was supposed to be what was portrayed. But I think he might try to take it seriously. That would be crazy. I'm being really hopeful here, but if that happens,
being hopeful.
Yeah.
You want that to happen?
I would want that to happen just to stir up some chaos, you know, in the series.
That would get some things moving for sure. But I don't know, that would just make Chinatsu really sad. Probably, or maybe she wouldn't care. Maybe she'd be like, it's just for the play.
I think she would definitely be sad, but I want chaos. I want the characters to be in a state of disarray. I need their hearts to be torn, and I need things to happen that's big, you know? I just want to see big stuff happen. But Chinatsu is in the stage audience right now. She got the text from Taiki, like, whoa, what do you mean? You're gonna be the play or whatever? It's like, yep.
Something got roped into acting.
Mm-hmm.
Please spare me the judgment. She sent a little like good luck, little deer emoji. I like that one. I don't know. I wonder if he's gonna ruin the play by not being able to kiss her.
That's the other potential thing that I was thinking. I just didn't want to say it, but now that you've brought it up, it's possible that Taichi refuses to go along with the part of the play, and now Hina is extremely sad.
Which would be ridiculous if he did that. That would be such a little baby move. I mean, he has been a bit of a baby up until this point, so
A little bit.
I don't know, but
I think the big thing to keep in mind is what he says like near the end of the chapter, where he's thinking to himself, what's the difference between a platonic friend and a lover, you know? And so I guess next week what we can probably expect is the play is going to start, and Taiki in his own brain is going to be thinking about things as the play's going, you know? And so hopefully then we'll get like a lot of deep introspection from our boy. Back from its 1 month hiatus is Black Clover. Black Clover, I had not read at all before the 1 month, but in a month's time, I've caught up to all 331 chapters and have just read chapter 332.
Let's be honest, you really only spent like 2 weeks on it.
Yeah, no, I was kind of burnt from reading all the manga that I had to do, catching up to everything. So I just kind of held it off for like it was more than a 1 month hiatus, right? It was like 3 months.
It was 3 months.
Yeah,
it was 3 months, and you waited till there was only 2 weeks left. And like, you gotta read.
Hold on. I read like 100 chapters within 2.5 months, and then I was like, oh, I should probably catch up. And then I read like 200 chapters in like 2 weeks. But the synopsis of the story is our main character Asta and his childhood friend Yuno are basically of age to get their grimoires in a magic society so that they can try and become like wizard knights or magic knights. And they both have a dream, right, to become the wizard king, which is like the highest state of prestige in their society. There is a real king, but in the series they kind of show the real king is more of a monarch and no one actually respects him. He's just kind of there, a figurehead. But the wizard king is like the real deal big shot, you know? And these two are from the slums. They're trying to make it from the absolute bottom to the absolute top, you know? And the story is a lot about the fact that Asta is being heavily discriminated against because his friend Yuno gets a 4-leaf clover grimoire, which is extremely rare and kind of shows that he's blessed, right? Magic loves him innately, and so he's on the fast track to be incredible. Asta, on the other hand, has absolutely zero affinity for magic. He literally can't even cast spells because he doesn't have the capacity to. And so his grimoire is actually like black and musty and dirty, but it's a 5-leaf black clover, right? And so Asta, what he has is anti-magic. He has no magic. He's from the bottom. And it's basically his story, his underdog tale of him climbing to the absolute top. I think that my thoughts on Black Clover, I think, so Asta joins this group of people called the Black Bulls. This is the team that kind of adopts him, and they're a group of misfits. They're all just kind of messed up in their own ways. But at the end of the day, I think we get to learn the characters, we see their true like found family dynamic that they have. And I think it's actually pretty sweet. When I started the series, I thought to myself, this seems like it's just Naruto because it's the down on his luck kid who's like pseudo cursed basically, and it's his story of trying to get to the top, and he has this friend like by him all the time who's super talented, right? So it's the Naruto Sasuke dynamic, and I was thinking to myself, okay, so is this a Naruto clone? This is actually my 3rd time trying to get through Black Clover. My first time, chapter 1 first came out, and I read it, and I was like, this is just Naruto, but again. And then, so I just didn't continue. The second time, the anime came out, and I'm like, all right, it wasn't canceled. I'll watch it again. And I watched it, and Asta's screaming throughout the whole episode. I was like, this is a meme. So I just didn't continue. But now for this podcast, I've caught up on everything. And I just gotta say, it's much better than I was expecting.
Yeah, a few things that I think that this does Naruto's framework a little better. The characters in Black Clover, I feel, are much more developed and like given the time that they need to at least grow attached to them. Because in Naruto, let's be honest, the only people that matter are Naruto and Sasuke and like the villains. Any real good guys that like we've been with a long time kind of get shafted in the end. But with this, it feels like everyone is somewhat relevant. And I find it funny that the Black Bulls, Asta's team, are seen as the misfits, where like when they're coordinated together, they're probably the best team in the entire series. I don't know if it's just like their captain Yami seeing that, or if it truly was just an accident. I mean, it wasn't an accident in writing, but it just makes everything else look like, wow, these are the guys that you guys all said sucked. They're all the best.
I mean,
But,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yami was kind of saying in the series that the way he picked them was, I just picked the most interesting people. And so it could be kind of an accident, but it also could be saying something about, how the latent potential of people is kind of not shown, because that is thematically really consistent with everything else we see in Black Clover. I think Naruto kind of starts as like an underdog tale, but it becomes more into like a success story, just kind of flat out. I think Black Clover tries its hardest to keep the underdog feeling as long as possible. So I think it almost is more straightforward in that it does exactly what it sets out to do, and you can kind of respect that execution a little bit more, I think. I do think that it gets a little too briskly paced at times. I think Black Clover kind of breezes through things pretty quickly, to a little bit of detriment, but I think for the most part it's extremely solid. It's very consistent, and I've only really been enjoying the series more. I think the arc before this latest chapter might have been the best one so far for me personally.
It was a very good arc. Basically the world was kind of like ending-ish kind of threat. Like all the demons and devils were coming out of the woodwork and trying to kill everyone. Asta stopped them, and this whole arc was kind of predicated on the events of like, because Asta has his own like devil side of him, he was gonna be killed. He was gonna be tried and executed. But this was supposed to be his like test to not be. And I guess that's where this chapter leaves off on, is he finally is exonerated of his crimes, and he gets to no longer fear death. But another long-running joke that will need to be, I guess, talked about in this chapter is he was raised in like a church kind of orphanage thing, and he kept approaching the nun with like, I want to marry you, please marry me kind of thing. And he was a child. She always said no, and not to mention she's a nun, so that's just not going to happen. But this chapter is hopefully the final time that happens, because he approaches her and says, please marry me. This is the last time. I'm finally an adult, so... And she says, nope.
Yeah, she's like, cool. No, you're like my little brother. That's cringe. No. And so Asa's two other love interests are like, Hope?
Yeah, no, the other two, Asta's harem is just like, wait a second, he wants to marry somebody, and doesn't work out, so they're happy, I guess.
I think it's really funny that the reason that they even heard was because Nero was just like, I'm gonna tell them because it seems like it would be funny.
Then she's like, this is entertaining.
Yeah,
fun.
I really like how they kind of have kept Nero as a character, but she's adding a new dynamic to the Black Bulls, which I think is impressive. That the Black Bulls, there's a lot of people that are in here, but I feel like an attachment to pretty much all of them. Like, it's pretty cool that even Nero, like the absolute newest member, is like getting moments like this, just kind of making me be like, she's funny,
Yeah, and the chapter ends with a bit of a cliffhanger. The Wizard King, previous Wizard King, who was big deal, he used time magic, he seemed to be a good guy all the way through. In the last few chapters, is suddenly revealed to be a heel-turned villain.
Yep,
like seemingly a heel-turned villain.
He like
probably
strongest devil or whatever had an affinity for time magic, and there was only one human who also had an affinity for time magic. And so the twist is that this devil was inside of the Wizard King kind of the whole time, right? And so, I mean, I didn't expect him to show up this soon, right? I don't know if he's just gonna say words and leave, or like if he's gonna mess stuff up, but it looks like we're jumping straight into the final arc of Black Clover.
Yep, this is supposed to be the final arc of Black Clover. How long it'll be, I don't know. Could be a few more years, maybe just one, who knows, but we're in for a ride for sure. And I'm glad you caught up right as it's about to end, Bobby.
Yeah, definitely honestly, a lot of really good moments in throughout the series. So I think it's pretty cool. Also, one thing we skipped over from earlier, it seems like I found it really really funny, the interaction between Charlotte and Yami this chapter.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess like the lack of interaction really is the better way to put it, because Yami's just like he shows up and Charlotte just immediately goes away. So Finral explains to Yami, "Oh yeah, when you were passed out like in that last arc, dude, Charlotte said she loved you." And Yami's just like in the toilet thinking to himself like, "What? Have I what?" He's just like processing everything because he thought
Charlotte's got a thing for me.
Yeah, he was so dense about the whole situation of her liking him. And so now he is just hitting him, and I think it's really funny that like everyone's leaving the party, it's over, and he's just still in there thinking.
Just sitting on the toilet pooping.
Yeah, Yami's definitely, I think, probably my favorite character in this series. He's a great character, and he's really like everyone in the story respects him. He's a really good, I guess, instigator, maybe like catalyst for the other characters. I think they all bounce off of him extremely well. So
One Piece, we get more protecting Wano from the Navy.
Well, yeah. The Akazaya 9 are trying their best to stop him. Skipping over what happened in between, because we do go back to the fight later. Momonosuke kind of tells Yamato, "You can't help. The reason you can't help is because I don't want to rely on the Straw Hats again. You need to go with them." Because, you know, there's a pride that Momonosuke has where it's like, if we ask the people who just saved us, who are on their way, go to them and say, "Can you help us again?" Like, this country is so screwed. I need to do this to prove it to myself and my country that they're under the right hands, right? Because he's trying to take responsibility as the new leader of Wano. And
which, I mean, to be entirely fair, they aren't capable of defending themselves. Like, at least against this kind of a threat, because in the end, Shanks saves them.
Yeah, it's true.
So, I mean, like, realistically, maybe Yamato shouldn't go. I don't know. For, like, the good of people of Wano, maybe someone should stay that's, like, capable of fighting. But, I want Yamato to come along, but I mean, like, just for, like, strategic, I don't want to die reasons. Maybe she shouldn't.
Momonosuke does show himself to be pretty strong, because he does have the dragon fruit, or I guess is it the fish fruit technically?
Yeah, fish model dragon.
Yeah, so he does do pretty significant seeming damage to Rokugyu. So I mean, it seems like he's pretty strong. Shanks does save them in the end, but I almost wonder if the fear of that happening is going to be good enough to protect the country, because I do expect Yamato to go with the crew, right? And so Shanks showing up to save everyone, yeah, that's a big deal, but I almost feel like because it's Haki from far away and the threat of Shanks is what's scaring them, the people on Wano are not going to recognize that, and they might just kind of attribute it to Momonosuke, which maybe it's a fraud, but I mean, it's not like he's weak either, so.
Boys at the end, they all were like, "Oh, I guess we won't step in." So they were all ready to just jump in and fight, which was funny. But going back to the middle of the chapter now, Law just interjecting himself is something that has nothing to do with it.
I mean, he was just suspicious. He was like, "Why did those people leave? Where are they going?" And so
it's none of your business, Law. It'll go away. I don't want Law anywhere near the plot.
You don't want him near the plot?
I don't want him near the plot. Kid's fine. Kid can come, not Law.
Kid would literally not be able to handle himself here.
He would not be interested at all. But it's fine, I guess. I suppose.
What we do learn, though, is the third road poneglyph is there, and we kind of understand, we get a better understanding of what Wano was like before these big walls kind of were injected. So it was like an island country with no natural barrier. It was just kind of around, but apparently walls just kind of shot up. I don't know if someone made these or if this was over the course of like thousands of years or anything, but I'm kind of getting the impression that these walls were injected there. So what was going down, you know?
Maybe it had something to do with the earthquake fruit.
What would give you that like idea?
Because if the cliffs weren't created by them, so like, unless I don't think they can do that. Maybe they can, but the earthquake fruit's the only fruit we've seen at this point that's like capable of like really massive stuff like that. So I have no basis for it, but that's the first thing that came to my head when I saw it, is like maybe they just fucked with the Earth's crust and made it pop up. I don't know.
So I mean, I was thinking something along the lines of like, we know that the geography of the One Piece world is kind of strange in that the way to get to the Grand Line, you have to go over Reverse Mountain, right? And so you have to go and ride a waterfall, like basically upwards, to get into the Grand Line, because there's a giant rock wall in the way, right? And the Red Line is kind of like, I think it's like similar, where you have to go through like the Red Line, and instead you can't really go up because there's no waterfall, so you have to go down. But in this arc in Wano, we kind of had to do that same thing with the waterfall. So I almost wonder if it's like similar to that. Like, were the walls of the One Piece world just also constructed to be that way? Because it seems like kind of interesting to me that they're very similar in like that regard. So I almost wonder if someone maybe like prototyped it with Wano and then did it fully on the planet. That would be some like crazy out there theory. But
that would be.
Yeah, but we do get to the Poneglyph. Pluton is in fact here in Wano, right? So we only have one more road Poneglyph to go, I think, and we have knowledge of the ancient weapons. So I guess we'll like really get the rest. I mean, I'll be honest. If they just don't tell us right now and they tell us later, I'm not too surprised. I think One Piece has done that before to us, where it's like, ooh, they're hinting at huge lore, and they don't tell us until way later, because it's technically a lot of the background lore is not always relevant to the forefront of the story. It's a little more relevant now than before, though, so I wouldn't be surprised either way. But yeah, really interesting chapter. Always a lot happening in this series, so I'm ready to see what it's like when we're off of Wano and where we go from here.
Yeah, no, this is crazy. Like, Wano's taken up 4 years, and now we're finally out of here.
Yeah.
Not this, probably not the next chapter, maybe not even the next one, but
we're wrapping up here. You know, it's
over.
Like over.
Wano is over.
The new saga has begun.
Sakamoto Days. This is just a fight between the teacher lady, pretty much.
Yeah, and like the Akira and Shin.
They're just fighting her.
Yeah, we do get some interesting stuff regarding Akira, because she sees like these lines that's sort of like just are in her vision, and I guess it's like she can see the lines of like, oh, this is like the best options to kill someone. Like, it's just like some inherent like natural talent that she like got passed down to her or something, because I would assume her aunt has something very similar, because she was supposed to be extremely strong, and this seems like an extremely useful skill for, you know, killing people. So
you never finished Demon Slayer, right?
No, I never did. I'm
gonna say words from Demon Slayer. I'm gonna say words about it. This exact thing is in Demon Slayer. I'm sure it's been in something before Demon Slayer, and but most recently, where I've seen it, is Demon Slayer. And I don't know, like, I think I would find it cool if the whole time I wasn't thinking about, this is in Demon Slayer, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
The whole like little like line thing.
I've seen
Not
this
sure
before.
if that's where you've seen it.
Yeah,
okay.
I've seen this not in Demon Slayer. Funny enough, I've seen this in like, I think like 2 sports anime. I 1000% have seen this in Eyeshield 21. I'm tempted to say that something like this happened in Kuroko no Basket too, but it's definitely been a thing that I've seen in Eyeshield. You know, obviously though, that's a sports anime. This is for killing people, so it's the context is a little different, but it's the same idea.
But they kind of fail. They don't succeed yet, and they bump into the invisible guy, and he's gonna help. So not a lot going on in this chapter, but it was still entertaining.
Yeah, I think it's fun that like Sakamoto hears about who it was, and you see like the the past where Sakamoto is younger with the two other people that were like the three most like incredible at the school, and it's just them getting owned by the teacher. So I mean, kind of way to hype her up like how strong he is. She's only older now, so I mean, it's probably only getting weaker, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, this third guy's gonna come out. I'm kind of wondering, because Shin is basically Sakamoto's, like, I guess you could say apprentice, right? Akira is the niece of her aunt, who is like incredible there, and this guy, I'm almost wondering if he has some sort of connection to the disguise guy, because he was the third person, right? And so I wonder if he has some sort of connection to him that we just don't know about yet. But
I mean, probably they seem to be going with like these are the future trio, whereas Sakamoto was and the other two were their generation's version of them. So I would assume that these guys are going to be the future generation of what Sakamoto and his gang was.
Yeah.
So Dandadan, that kid, I don't know his name.
The Kim Jong-un looking guy, right?
Yeah, he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's like not being thankful at all for the fact that Gigi's just like carrying him out of the danger.
Yeah, don't get any sweat on me. He's like, hey, you're a snob. It's like, you don't get it. Eat my sweat and snot. And he's trying to stop him because he's gonna turn into the guy. And then he's like seriously, you gotta stop. And then he just shakes his head, causing him to just get all the sweat on him on purpose. And he turns into the evil eye. Just an absolute idiot.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it's not his fault that he didn't know that this would happen.
No, but like regardless, like that's really rude.
Yeah.
He got you out of danger and you're just treating him like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he even is like not being like super harsh about it. He's like, if you can, just try not to. But I don't know.
But they are still fighting the Godzilla kaiju guy.
I mean, they have to run, right? Like they can't fight it.
Yeah,
they gotta run.
Yeah, they're sprinting away. They get back to the house. It turns out that Miss Shiratori is faking being unconscious so she can cling to Okurin.
Yeah, that was
which is funny.
That was really funny. Momo was just like, "How long were you faking?"
The evil eye is out, and they're gonna seemingly try to get him to fight.
Well, Okurin says we shouldn't do that though, because he's like scared that it'll set a precedent, and he'll think that fighting things that are other than him are actually okay now instead of.
Which is pretty cool that they're trying to do that, not just be like, yeah, turn to our side. They're actually thinking fairly rationally, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
But they're gonna use the Minecraft blocks in some way.
I think so. Here's what I think. Right? It's a tokusatsu kaiju thing. They have to fight Godzilla. What else are they going to do but turn their house into a giant robot and pilot it to fight the Godzilla thing?
There's that, or they build Mothra. Probably not, though.
I think the giant robot
is
I like
that's way more likely.
I like the giant robot idea. I think they're gonna do a giant robot battle, and they're just gonna do like
a
Gatai Henshin.
Power Ranger kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I didn't even think about that. That's genius. I was just like, what are they gonna do?
I'm ready. I'm not sure that's what they're gonna do, but I want the giant robot battle, because giant robot versus Godzilla. It's the classic. It's what it's gotta happen.
So they're just gonna destroy the house over again?
Yeah, but then they have the Minecraft blocks. They'll rebuild it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I just want to see the giant robot.
All right. Yeah, no, that would be great to have them all piloting a mech. I could just picture like one of the arms being Momo's, and
that's a great idea.
Like cutting between.
Yeah,
that'd be hilarious.
I wasn't even thinking of that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, or maybe both the arms being Momo's. So that'd be sick. Me and Roboco. This was a silly little chapter. Two characters I'm not usually that like crazy about being the star of the show that I enjoyed though.
Mm-hmm.
I loved they're playing a soccer game, and the mind reading kid and the scary obsessive kid are going up against each other, and Now, when Bondo is not on the opposite team of Gachi Gorilla and Matsudo, he's a part of the like really nice bullying, and I think it's really funny.
I think
because he's not. They're not saying anything mean. They're just acting like they are being mean and saying nice stuff.
Yeah, like the way that they're framed and the way that they look like they're really like condescending and threatening, a little bit psychotic. But is this the first time we've seen Bondo kind of like like this? It is, right? It's really funny. Time. It's honestly, I think it's great that like not only is he kind of the Tsukomi punching bag, the straight man of the situation, but he could also join it with the boys now that they have like other friends in their group to kind of do this too.
It's really funny because like Matsuo, he like looks like I'm better than you, I'm superior. Gorilla looks like kind of scary, like I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, and Bondo just looks like he's an idiot who like doesn't know what he's doing at all. Just looking in one panel, he's like looking two different ways. It's very funny.
He's got like a little bit of a lazy eye.
It's fantastic.
It's like condescending, fresh meat, and like just straight up psychotic.
But they, they're playing the game, and it's Gorilla versus, pretty much Gorilla versus all of them. He's doing a great job. Matsuo does a good job passing. And Bondo kind of sucks. But there's the final thing. He's in the zone. Somehow Tyra's gotten into the zone.
Yeah.
He's already given up. You just see him sitting down doing nothing.
Yeah, pretty insane Kuroko reference there. They do the same like eye effect that they do in Kuroko, where it's like the light just following their eyeballs everywhere they go.
They lose, but they're glad that they're shucks, I can't hit a friend. They're just like I don't know. I love this series so much. I can't wait for the anime.
Yeah, definitely super fun. Once it gets a little bit more recognition, maybe it'll get a little bigger. But for now, we're just enjoying every week.
Chainsaw Man. We got 2 chapters to cover because we're recording a little bit late, and I think we might be making Tuesdays our recording days from now on. But so we'll be covering Chainsaw Man each week now. But the summary of the last 2 chapters, I guess, she's joining the Devil Hunter Club, and the blonde girl and her kind of hit it off. She gives, when the main character goes to her locker, she finds that people have like kind of trashed her sneakers with like raw meat.
Yeah, it looks kind of like chicken, like poultry kind of meat. So it's definitely because they're upset that she kind of killed the class pet chicken guy. So getting a lot of bullying.
And the blonde girl gives her sneakers, or at least one of them, and they run back, and she lets her keep her sneakers. That's really nice. I'm glad that she's getting a friend. But this chapter kind of opens up with her like thanking her, and they're gonna go hunt devils after school because they both got that in common.
Yeah, really threatening line that she said, where they introduce each other like a little bit more. They start talking, and she's like, "I want to be a devil hunter because my parents got killed by a devil," and the main character girl, she's kind of like, "My parents were killed by a devil too." And so she kind of is like, "Oh, is that why you're joining too?" And that's not why she's joining, but she lies and like, yeah, because she's not going to explain that the war devil is inside of her body, like. And so
yeah, the war devil's inside of her, and when the blonde girl goes to walk away, war devil comes out. We should kill her. And I love the panel beforehand. She looks happy, she's taking a bite of her stuff, and then she looks to her left because that's where the war devil's sitting in her mind. We should kill her. The like interactions between her and the war devil that aren't like verbal are insane to my brain. I look at this stuff and I'm just like, whoa, because like there's, they glance at each other. She can hear, the war devil can hear everything that our main character is saying in the brain. Like no thoughts are private, and so. They're talking about we should kill her because once you're better friends with somebody, we could like they'll become a stronger weapon once they become yours, which once you kill them, their body is yours because you're the one who killed them. she says no. She's trying to change the subject, and they're gonna let it. The War Devil's gonna let her change the subject and not get back to it for now, because the more they become friends, the stronger a weapon she'll be. So he's like, oh, we can wait. That's fine. And they go devil hunting, and they actually come across a devil.
Yep, I like the transition they did, where they have the politician talking about how their society is plagued by devils. Like 7 in 20 people will be killed by devils, and it's just kind of like the transition. I thought was pretty effective.
Yeah, it cuts right to the devil just killing a bunch of people out of nowhere, and then the War Devil's like, I've got some bad news. One, you can't kill this thing, definitely. And number 2, I can't take over your body when you're stricken with fear. So back away slowly and quietly. And the chapter ends with them just like starting to run away.
Yeah.
And it's not looking great, but I'm sure this is probably when Chainsaw Man's gonna appear. Finally.
Maybe. I actually have a different thought. I think the blonde girl is gonna die, like, to this devil.
Yeah?
Yeah, so she was saying, like, oh, we could be, like, main characters, you know? And we could, like, partner up, be, like, Avengers and whatever. And I think that that's not going to happen. I think we recognize that Denji is the real main character here. And I feel like that this girl, I feel like it's a very Chainsaw Man thing to do, for it's like, the main character girl finally gets a chance to have a friend, and it's just immediately taken away. It would be a very Chainsaw Man thing. And I think that it's kind of a death flag for her to be like, oh yeah, we're going to work together, like kill devils. And I feel like it's either going to end in this devil kills her, or she gets turned into a weapon. I think she's not
I definitely think she dies. I'm just wondering if it's now.
Yeah, I don't think, I feel like she's not sticking around for very long.
My Hero Academia. We just get more jobber talk for 11 pages. Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, these 3 guys is like kind of last moment, I guess. I like Sun Eater, I think, the most. I think he's like pretty cool, and the last panel is like really sick, where like it's showing like all the things that he's eaten, like in the background of the thing, and then, you know, his friends like energy. But I don't know, I like, you already kind of have to understand that not much is gonna come from this.
Yeah,
like they're gonna treat it like it's significant, but I don't know. Bakugo in the last chapter was shown to be like still ready to fight, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, oh, it's not enough, and then Bakugo does his final thing, and then like he like can't fight anymore, and Shigaraki's still there, and then Midoriya finally appears, hopefully. But
I was looking at stuff in the background that he was eating, and it's difficult to see a lot of them. I wonder how he ate Otto's energy. That's a little confusing. But one thing at the very, very bottom right, green sea turtle.
Oh,
this dude ate a sea turtle.
It's for the.
I mean, he probably only ate a bite, but like, I don't know if that's like, is that allowed? I don't know. I thought they weren't supposed to be eaten.
Maybe in our world, maybe in their world, the animal preservation's better.
They're bountiful. You can eat anything.
Yeah, maybe. I do think the energy thing, I don't think that's something he actually ate. I think that's just like power of friendship. I think that's just.
Oh yeah, she's throwing it around it. I see it now. She's throwing it around it.
Yeah.
You can see like the little swirl around.
Oh yeah, like the suds. Yeah.
So, this is a terrifying power though. Pretty cool.
I think it's really sick, yeah.
I see dragon fruit. I don't understand, like, unless that gives him the power of a dragon just because it's named after dragon. That'd be dumb, but otherwise I don't see how that could be helpful.
I'm pretty sure doesn't it like smell bad or something?
No, like, that you're thinking of durian.
Oh yeah, that's like it smells like rotten eggs or socks or whatever.
Eating a durian.
Yeah.
Gives Sun Eater the power to smell bad.
Yeah, unless this is a different dragon fruit. Dragon fruit's here.
I don't know. This is fine, I guess. It's not going to mount anything, like you said. But Choujin X. I mean, it's been a while. We get some Eli backstory at the very beginning here.
Yeah.
Tokyo's having some strange dream about Tokyo in ruins. Not him, the city.
Tokyo,
and
not Tokyo.
Yeah, and his good friend Azuma is in the devil form or Choujin form. All these things are the same. But they're in class, and things are kind of back to normal. I hope that things will kind of. I was hoping that him and Tokyo would have a little bit of a problem, going forward. Like Tokyo wouldn't trust him anymore, but it seems like he still likes him just the same amount.
I think that in Tokyo's mind that it's not that Azuma himself that is the problem, but the Choujin inside of Azuma might be the one that is the problem, because in his dream he sees the threatening presence of Azuma's Choujin, and it just tells him like, this is your fault. And so I wonder if Tokyo in some way almost is trying to atone in some way, some unknowing way, because I don't think he understands what he did wrong, but I think he still feels bad about it.
Mm-hmm. But they're gonna work together and become stronger. So,
yep.
I don't know. Fine chapter. Took a while to get to this point, but still good.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Ellie or Eli kind of has this backstory where it's kind of like, is she going to go down the same path as her mother? Because what is it? Is her grandfather that says it? Those who take will also lose. And so I kind of wonder, what is that implication for her character in the future? But it's definitely something to be keeping in mind, I think, for her actions later. Because I would assume they're not just showing this to us for no reason, right?
Jujutsu Kaisen. You got the fight between Worm Boy and the Zenin clan.
Yeah, so it's kind of shown that he was actually killed. He was killed, confirmed before, but because Maki doesn't have cursed energy, she can't exercise them because she doesn't have the energy. So his negative energy basically just manifested into this, which I think is actually a pretty cool thing to point out. I didn't really think about that before, but I do think it's kind of interesting that the things that Maki beats can't be beaten for real,
unless they're people,
right? If they're just
they can turn into cursed spirits.
But, yeah,
they seem to kill this form. It turns into a cursed womb, so it's becoming, essentially it's metamorphosizing like a butterfly. And Bo Blood Guy tries to shoot him, but he fully transforms and he becomes I don't know.
It kind of looks like I don't know. I mean, it's got fists. I almost wanted to say it looked like the Schizozoa from Code Lyoko. But it has hands and fists, so it's kind of not. But
I don't know.
It kind of looks like it might actually have legs too. And I look at it a little closer.
Yeah, it looks like it's got legs and arms.
Yeah, it's just really tendony. I don't know.
Got a lot of little tentacles. And a skull. I don't know. It's cool design. Not gonna lie. Don't completely care about this fight.
It's going a little longer than I expected.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not that one fight.
Oh yeah.
But it's I don't know. I'm Maki's cool. I like Maki, but she's not my favorite. So I'm kind of well, I'm gonna get to someone else, kind of. But
yeah, there wasn't exactly a huge power scaling to understand how strong this thing was. So it's kind of I don't really understand what the scale of this fight is supposed to be. I just know that Maki is supposedly OP, but I don't know. It's not like she's just doing whatever with this thing. I mean, this new form just showed up, so I mean, I guess we'll find out next week. But
Akane Banashi, the Jugum story continues.
Very different than the way it was before, though.
Very slow and methodical, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, she's actually really good."
Yeah,
everyone's like kind of falling into like, "Oh wait, I'm seeing different characters right now. I'm kind of like falling into this."
Yeah,
insane.
It is kind of what I expected it to be, where it's her going through every part of the name and trying to unravel like what exactly it means, so that there's like more of an intense meaning for the name. It's not just like a technical showcase, it's more of a way to like invest the audience into what the name actually is. Pretty nice. We also get like a cute little flashback of her, it's like her dad basically figuring out why, or giving her name Akane, so that she kind of has the same understanding, right? And so it's like a cute little parallel.
The final kind of page turn, peekaboo, where are you? And then it page turns, you see the expression just like fall off this woman. Baby just disappeared. Like, I would imagine that's horrifying, and like you could see like the audience is like drawn different. Like they've got like all this like kind of jagged lines coming around them. It's like, oh, they're all feeling it too. Like, oh, just I don't know. It's pretty cool. I was feeling Akane's performance. I think this author is probably brilliant. Like they must really love Rakugo like in real life. There's no way they don't.
Definitely.
And they are very passionate, and it shows.
Yeah, definitely. In a way, like it's so subtle, right? Like the things that make it so gripping and like immersive for people to read, it's so like subtle. Like you can't really point out a specific thing. It's just the way everything flows, like, and is drawn. Like the vibes of it are just really, really easy to sink your teeth into. Like it's really easy to get lost in the pace of the series, which is a great thing, honestly. And it's even like kind of shown in like a meta way at the very end, where the country girl who's like the voice actor, she like recognizes like what's going on, you know, because it feels like Akane's presence is fading from the stage and it's a full focus on the story. And I think that's like a really, really neat distinction to make, so that kind of people like us who don't know Rakugo like that can kind of have a feeling for like what we're feeling.
This is probably like my most anticipated to get an anime. I would just love to see how this works.
Yeah,
it's like an anime.
If you were able to get like real voice actors and everything too, I feel like it can only like get elevated, you know.
Think about if like a really solid animation studio went after this too, like all the tricks and stuff they could do to make the characters come alive and the stories come alive. Oh my gosh, dude.
Awesome. I could definitely see like very specific anime studios taking this and doing an absolute fantastic job. Like Cloverworks is one anime studio that's very, very good at facial expressions. They were part of the team that did Spy X Family. I think in the series, like if they were able to get like this for an adaptation, that would be like really cool, because they're really good at making characters expressive.
But overall, like, probably one of the best chapters this week, just in terms of making me feel something.
Yeah.
This was incredible.
Yeah, really, really awesome. I can't wait to see what the results are. It looks like I don't even know if we're wrapping up the story. The story might not even be done next week, because the baby disappearing, I don't know if is that part of the original story? I don't remember that part happening. So
that was they said that was the Jugum story came from an old Japanese tale,
right?
Of a similar thing where the baby drowned because they couldn't call out the name.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So fast enough. So that's probably where this is going, but we'll see. Undead Unluck. Another continuation of the previous fight. We get some kind of closure on Billy. Oh, Titania. Yeah, that's right.
Tatiana,
yeah, something like that. We get some closure on their relationship. They're friends again, and now, finally, Undead and Unluck have made it to the table and the arc, and so they have to decide who's going. It's going to be Fuko.
Yeah. We're just getting some closure here, you know, for the characters, so that we can, you know, emotionally resonate. They just kind of have full closure, so that they can decide once and for all all right, Fuko. Like, it's just preparing Fuko so that she can go. And Injustice is there at the table / the arc. And so, I don't know. I mean, she says it's time to make a choice, but kind of like you said, they already know what they're gonna do, right? So
yeah, it's pretty uneventful if you think about it like that, but
pretty fluffy chapter. But I mean, it's you know, it's wrapping up everything we have to do in this timeline. You know,
hopefully next chapter they go back on the arc. That's it. Aliens area or alien diplomacy. Again, this should have come before the big assassin guy.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily dislike this chapter. It was actually like a really easy read. Like I just kind of breezed through it, and so it wasn't really. It's not like I was bored or anything reading it. It doesn't really feel like much though. It feels like this is like a chapter 3 type of chapter. You know?
I agree. So was the previous one.
Yeah,
like, that was also like these should have been next. I feel like I would have been a little bit more okay, whatever, but they, you know, deal with kind of a unruly alien who parked his spaceship in a spot he's not supposed to, and kind of menacing a little bit, trying to intimidate our boy. But the lesson is that you need to ask for help.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, okay.
So like, I gotta be honest. It's not that I hate this chapter or anything, but I don't really know what the appeal of this chapter is. Like, I don't know if you feel that, but like...
Yeah, no, I completely feel that.
Because it doesn't feel funny to me. Like, I don't know, the guy spit at Tatsu. Like, I don't know, like, I don't... Okay, sure. That's not funny to me, though. Like, it's not funny. It doesn't feel like it was particularly heartwarming or anything. It just happened. And it's not like it was boring. Like, I didn't, like, get bored and, like, dread flipping the pages to read more words or anything. I was just kind of like, okay, that happened.
It's fairly uneventful as well, but I think it's supposed to be because it's an early chapter. I don't know. I definitely didn't get the appeal as well.
Yeah, I mean...
However, it was charming enough as, like, a introductory thing. In my mind, I've wiped out the assassin arc from my mind, pretty much. I'm, like, trying to be like, okay, that's not important. It clearly wasn't. It took, like, a chapter. So, yeah. This is just character growth stuff. Maybe by chapter 10, we'll be doing something.
Yeah, I mean, I think I liked chapter 8 more than this one because we at least get to see characters interacting with each other, people that we know that we will see again and like should care about. This chapter kind of doesn't feel like it does that. I don't really know like what the takeaway is. Like, I guess there's the one guy who's like helping to mentor main character, but I feel like we don't really get like a lot of personality from him. Like, it's better than nothing, but I mean, we end the chapter and he's like, it reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. It's like, what the heck is that about? But I don't know. I almost want to feel like, just to make it interesting, his ex-girlfriend was an alien or something. But that would be funny. But I don't know. Like, the meat of this chapter is not... It kind of fulfills the same purpose as last chapter, but last chapter did it better. And so it's kind of like, I feel like you said, this should have been happening way earlier, I think. But I mean, better late than never, I guess. I don't know.
Well, thank you for joining us this week for another episode of the Dump Podcast. We'll see you again next week. We're probably going to be recording on Tuesday from now on, except for probably this upcoming week because there's no Chainsaw Man. So we might as well just record when we can. But we'll try to get this out to you in a timely manner. We might be using a new editing software. Last week's was delayed because we were using Adobe Premiere and it was crashing a lot for Bobby. His computer is $4.
Huh? I just want to say before we wrap up, it is kind of important news that affects what we're reading. Ruri Dragon is actually on an indefinite hiatus because the author's health is not, they're not doing so well right now. So definitely want to help, like, give our prayers to them because they're suffering, and it's not only a shame, but it must suck for someone to like be a part of something as prestigious as Shonen Jump, be doing extremely well, and then being forced to just cut it. You know, I'm sure that is extremely difficult for them to have to go through. And
I hope that they get better. My wishes, sending them my best.
Yeah.
I know your series is great, but your health's more important. So I hope they get better.
Yeah, definitely hoping out for them. And I know that there are gonna be people who are like, "Oh, Shonen Jump burnout," but like, let's be real, guys. They've been running for 6 weeks. It probably doesn't help like the types of like intense schedules that Shonen Jump puts their authors through, but I have a feeling that this is the blame here is not on company if for this specific scenario. So let's just all hope for the author, not try to point fingers at anything.
Thank you again. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. We'll respond. And have a wonderful day, guys.
Yeah.